Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my Christmas in July series. This is part 2 of 4 parts, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. For this project, you're going to need a Dollar Tree wooden Christmas tree, a wooden crate, and one of these silver stick-on tiles that are a little bit 3D. And by the way, if you happen to live by a Family Dollar, you can still get these tiles for $1 instead of $1.25. That's just a little bit of a helpful tip there if you live by one. So I start off by cutting the center out. And these are ridiculously easy to cut. Like, I was so stressed how I was going to get straight lines around the curves. And I ended up just kind of leaning my blade into the curve on the side there, right there. And it automatically stopped where the curve was. And I'm not even moving my blade. I'm moving the actual tile around. And it cut like butter. So no intimidation there. Go ahead and go for it. And when you're done cutting the center out, it makes a really cute piece to save for another DIY. Look at that, kind of looks like a fancy snowflake, or it definitely could make another DIY. So I go ahead and I paint this green, and it's just acrylic paint, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and let it dry. I blow dried a little bit, but I'm gonna let it dry. This is definitely an inspired craft from a creator in a Dollar Tree group that just posted this. It's just a private person. Her name is Summer. Somebody copied her, and then they go back and say, oh, I finally got a chance to make one. Thank you so much, Summer. And I couldn't find out for the life of me who Summer was, but I believe it's not anybody who owns a social platform. It's just somebody who's very creative, like all of you out there. So thank you so much, Summer, whoever you are, for the great idea of cutting out the center of this tree to put an image. That is awesome. So you could do any image in here. You could do a snowman, a church, a Christmas village, a little Christmas house, Santa Claus, whatever you want. And there are so many wonderful online free resources like clip art, the fairies-graphic.com. Maybe it's Graphics Fairy, but if you Google that, it will come up. Either one, actually, because I've gotten confused before and Googled both, and she comes up. So, but there are so many wonderful online free resources that you can go to find imagery. So I'm gluing this down just along the edge. I don't glue the entire tree because in the past I have had experiences that sometimes the heat from the glue will melt the tile. So I'm using my glue gun on low heat. You can use high heat if you only have a high heat glue gun. Just be sure to kind of let it cool down a few seconds before you go and press it down, just so you don't risk, warping it. So now I'm taking a baby wipe and some antique wax, and I'm just going to go around the edge of this tree, and then I'm also going to go around the center part of it just to give it a little bit of dimension and to highlight the parts that I want to stand out. Hey everyone, here are the other places you can follow me. My Facebook is brand new. I share other things over there, so be sure to check it out and follow me. You can also share your crafts there as well. Next, using a watered down version of the antique wax with just a little bit of black paint in there to make it more like a dark walnut, I'm taking a baby wipe and I'm staining a Dollar Tree wooden crate, and then in the little grooves there I have to use a brush and then just wipe over with my baby wipe because I can't reach it with the actual baby wipe. It doesn't work. So just do that if you have the same problem. I have to dry this little crate because I'm going to be gluing the tree onto the actual crate. Usually we push, the tree like behind the crate, but this time it's on, I'll show you right here, it sits on top of the crate. See how the little bottom end of the tree is sitting literally on top of the crate, which is great for support. It's a great idea. And then when I turn it around, I decide, you know what, we need to stain the back of this, definitely. So I go ahead and I do that. And this is what it should look like so far. So I take some packing foam from an Amazon package, save everything you guys, it saves money, and I put it inside there so that I don't have to use so much Spanish moss, which is also from the Dollar Tree. I'm using Dollar Tree pine cones that I got last Christmas, the Dollar Tree berries that I got last Christmas, Dollar Tree burlap ribbon right there, and then the ticking stripe ribbon is from Amazon. I have a link down below in my description box. The pine that I use is varied, and it's either from Dollar Tree, Amazon, or Temu, and I definitely bought these from Amazon. I'm showing you it was a great deal. 30 pieces for only $10. I love those rusted primitive stars. They are so cute. They're going to kind of be my highlight this year for Christmas. That link will be down below in the description box if you're interested. But we're all done. I love this so much. Let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. I'm using a Dollar Tree potato masher in this one, and some school glue and some paint. So my objective here is to try and antique this so it doesn't look so brand spanking new and modern. And I'm doing that by adding some school glue on here just to give it a thicker look, like maybe many layers of paint were going to be painted on this handle over the years here to make it look nice because it got old, that kind of thing. So you'll see what I do. I'm using flamenco, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but that's from Apple Barrel Paint, and I'm adding that on top. Now I did dry the glue all the way because I didn't really want this to crackle, although you could do that, you could do a crackle, but I wanted it to look more antiqued, and I feel like that's a little bit of a different look. So I go ahead and I dry the paint just to see if a tiny bit of crackle will come through, and then I take the back end of a paint stick here. You could use a skewer, anything like this, to scrape it off, and you're just kind of removing the paint here and there to make it look the best you can vintage. After this, you'll see me take some white paint and dry brush it, which I will end up kind of using a baby wipe to remove some of that. I want it to look like it had more than one layer of paint. So hopefully I achieved that. I think it looks really good at the end. You'll have to let me know what you think. Then I take pewter gray from Apple Barrel Paint and I just sponge it on all over to kind of calm down that shine on the metal. That's a really common thing that I do with all of my DIYs. When the metal's too shiny, I just use a little bit of paint to make it look matte and more flat, so it's not so shiny. Then I'm taking the color Nutmeg Brown. It's my favorite one to use for rust, and I'm going to show you the effect you get up close. It's still wet, but that's what it looks like, and I think it looks really good considering it's just paint. You can go ahead and add a little bit of cinnamon too if you want to level it up. So now I don't want that to chip off, so I go ahead and take some watered down Mod Podge, spray it on just so I can keep working with this and not have to worry about it chipping, and I show you what it looks like up close right there. And then I'm taking some of the Spanish moss. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down the best I can on top of this. And I'm using a Dollar Tree cutting mat for these crafts. That is a really great thing to use because it's cheap, easy to clean. The hot glue even peels off of it. So that's what I've been using lately, and I've been really happy with it. So now I'm going to give this a little trim, and then I'm going to use some of that watered down Mod Podge and spray it on top just like this. You know, just to kind of help. I don't want the moss to be falling off. I'm planning on leaving this up through winter. This is also winter decor for me. So now I'm putting some of the Dollar Tree snow on top. And after that dries, I put another spray of the Mod Podge. I just didn't film it. And these I got from Temu. They're so cute, the little deer. Because I'm making this to put up for Christmas and leave it through January, I went ahead and used like more of a winter scene and just winter colors, but you could use snowmen, Christmas trees, Christmas houses, Santa, whatever you want. So I'm gluing the deer on top of these little wood rounds so that they don't tip over, and they're I'm using them like a riser, so they kind of have the ability to rise these guys up. And then I'm using some of the miniature trees from the Dollar Tree. I put pine in there, some berries, and some little bells from Temu. I'll hold them up here. They're so cute. Everything was super cheap from Temu that I bought last year for Christmas. It's definitely worth checking out for just seasonal decor. Then I'm tying some ticking stripe on the top. I'm going to take a little snowflake and glue it on top of the ticking stripe. Then I decided that these trees were like a weird color green. They weren't really matching the other pine in there, so I tried to put more snow on them, but I loved how this came out. Let me know what you guys think. For this project, I'm using a Dollar Tree calendar from last year, and I'm just using the December one. You could put any image on this, but I thought this was such a pretty image and it's so simple. So I'm removing the sticker, super easy to do. You just use a blow dryer. And I found that this Dollar Tree plate here is like perfect for calendar images. I save it just for this. Just so I can trace out a circle around them, because then they tend to fit like almost everything that I put them on. So I'm using my glue stick trick, my handy dandy little glue sticks. Just be really, really generous, but this is the best way in my opinion to put down imagery that, you know, you don't want wrinkling up really badly or the ink bleeding. something that was very problematic with the calendar pages in the very beginning when crafters were using them back in like 2020 was that the numbers and the squares from the calendar behind it would actually show through, and I have found the glue stick totally eliminates that problem. I got a lot of tips back in those days. They were like, paint the back of the, the back of the calendar black, do this, do that. They were all great tips, but I found that they darkened the image when I put the Mod Podge down, so this is why I turned to the glue stick. Solves all those problems, you guys. So I take a little antique parchment from Apple Barrel Paint. I have to do 2 coats, and I'm just going around the edge because I'm going to put wooden beads down. I love wooden beads border. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have a thing for signs with wooden beads on them. I just think it elevates them so much. It makes them heavier and kind of chunky looking. I just think it's such a cute look. I love the bead look. So these are half beads. I got these from Amazon. The link is down below in my description box. And I'm just going to go ahead and go all the way around the sign with the beads for the frame. So this part I left in just to show you how cool this little saw is. I was going to do a half bead at the top because it didn't quite go all the way where the beads touched, and I thought, you know what, I was going to do a bow anyway on the top, so I thought I'd skip it. But I wanted to show you how cool that saw is. You can even cut the little half beads in half again. So I'm using the ticking stripe ribbon, some burlap ribbon in the center, then I put one of the stars on that I used in the previous DIY. I love those stars. And I'm using some Dollar Tree ribbon as a hanger. I just thought this was a nice hanger for this. I don't know why. I just felt like it kind of looks like burlap, but it has a little bit of character with the white going through it. Using some duct tape, hot glue, and that's it. I love this. You can put it in the middle of a wreath if you want, or just hang it up as is, but I think it came up so pretty. Last year, I found these beautiful deer at the Dollar Tree, and I know they'll be back again this year because I think they were a big hit, and that's what we're using in today's project. Plus, the wood base is also from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start off with giving it 1 coat of white chalk paint from Folklore in the color linen. This is more of like a furniture type chalk paint, so it tends to stick to shiny surfaces better than just like a Waverly chalk paint, which is more, I think that has more of like an acrylic paint base. So it tends to chip off just like your acrylic paint would from Apple Barrel, whereas Folklore or Rust-Oleum, especially Rust-Oleum chalk paint, they kind of use more adhesive paints to begin with. So those are more appropriate for furniture. I didn't know if you guys knew that. And some of you asked me, why aren't you using your homemade chalk paint? I love my homemade chalk paint, but when I moved, I hadn't even set up a craft room. I was so exhausted from unpacking, and my husband was trying to help me, so he bought like I think 3 of those big Folklore chalk paints, and they go a long way. I'm still using them up, but I have plenty of wonderful videos on how to make homemade chalk paint. If you want to check it out, they're down below in my description box. I started off by spraying this down with water downed Mod Podge so that I could hang it upside down and kind of let it get a thin coat before I did this, because sometimes, even with good chalk paints, when it comes to glass and metal and super shiny surfaces, you do have to take those extra steps to make sure that they won't lift. So I just started off spraying it so I didn't touch it. Then when that dried, that provided a base for me to be a little bit more, hands-on and do the sponge Mod Podge so that it wouldn't lift off. So now I'm painting the base of the Dollar Tree stand right here. I'm just doing it white. And those little feet, I'm going to use them for feet for this. I'm making like a square riser for this to start with. Those I got in an Amazon package with a piece of furniture that I didn't end up using, but you could use little knobs too. You can get those at Temu and on Amazon, and they also sell them now in the Dollar Tree. Sometimes you can find the little knobs that make great little feet. I'm using a little bit of E6000 and hot glue because I want a permanent hold on this. And that's it. So those are already white, but they're kind of a shiny white, which I didn't like. I ended up painting them so that they also have little brush strokes on and paint marks, so it matches the top better. So we're doing that. And also, I found when I gooped the paint on right where it joined, it also sealed in that seam, kind of like caulking, so that worked really well. And now I'm doing a second coat of the chalk paint. So originally I was going to leave it with the streaky mark because I thought that looked kind of neat. It was already distressed, and you'll see what I decide to do in a minute. I choose the color Khaki from Apple Barrel Paint. I got this from Amazon, and I'm just going to lightly dry brush on the top of this reindeer. Using high heat, I'm going to go ahead and cover the base the best I can with some pine, berries, bells, wood, pine cones, anything I can think of. And again, you guys, this is another one of my decor pieces that I am trying to make it in a way where I can leave it up during the winter. I am definitely somebody that I don't like to let go of Christmas. When it ends, I always get so sad. So now I'm trying to think of what decor pieces can I make that would kind of flow nicely into the winter scene, and I can leave them up with January and the new year. So what I do is I usually take down any colored lights that I have, and I'll put up fairy lights. I actually take the white lights down too, and I'll exchange them for fairy lights that are white, and I'll just put that all around to keep the sparkle going, and then I'll leave up some of the winter decor pieces that have a winter theme. So now I'm taking those little bells from Temu, and I'm using some wire that I pulled out of a Dollar Tree burlap ribbon. You can see it to the left there. I just pulled the wire out because it's really petite and perfect for what I needed, and I strung them up, and then I'm just going to put all little bells around his neck. And look at me go. I am so into the craft there. I didn't even notice that the sun was changing and coming through my blinds, but we just put them on top of that riser. I love this one too, and of course I would love to know what all of you think. If you enjoyed today's video and had fun, give it a big thumbs up, share the video, like the video, comment. I love you guys. And as always, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.